This news update is brought to you by...
This is how we flow. Oh, the offers are quite exciting, and the prices will leave you smiling. Everybody's got a chance to glow.
Get the new Samsung J5 plus 1 gig free data starting at just $345.
This is the Barbados Today Evening News Update for Wednesday, December 16. Thank you for joining us. I am Marie-Claire Williams. There has been a further delay to today's hearings at the Employment Rights Tribunal of National Conservation Commission retrenchment cases. The matter had already been stalled for over 2 months, and when the 3 commissioners sat down to hear the case, Chairman Hal Gollop QC said he could not proceed as planned. Barbados Today's Emmanuel Joseph has more.
Gollop explained that one of the attorneys, whom Barbados Today later discovered to be NCC Management's attorney Mitch Codrington, had asked for an adjournment because he was indisposed. Gollop did not elaborate. However, Gollop said those present in the auditorium of the Labour Department at Warren's office complex, the hearing will continue tomorrow at 1 p.m. at the same venue. He was at pains to point out that the delays were all the fault of the attorneys on both sides, and the tribunal was at no time to blame. He rejected statements by what he called misinformed persons who accused the tribunal of stalling and holding up the proceedings. The witness, who was testifying at the previous adjournment in the October hearing, retired General Secretary of the National Union of Public Workers, Dennis Clark, was present. So too was Tamara Simmons, the legal counsel, who is working with Pat Cheltenham QC, representing the retrenched NCC employees. On the sidelines of today's proceedings, Tribunal Chairman Gollop told reporters he had asked the various attorneys to address 3 key issues: consultation, the first-in, last-out policy, and retrenchment. Gollop said these are the 3 critical areas of the case which should determine its outcome. Gollop made it clear that the ruling on this NCC case would, in his words, be carefully written, especially since the judgment will serve as a precedent for similar matters at the statutory boards. Emmanuel Joseph for Barbados Today.
General Secretary of the Unity Workers Union, Caswell Franklyn, says workers will be at a disadvantage under the new Shops Act. The new legislation was recently passed in Parliament as part of plans to move towards a 24-hour society. But Franklyn tells Barbados Today the act was passed for the benefits of employers and not the workers. He pointed to overtime payment, which he says shop assistants could lose under the new law.
Shop assistants, if they were allowed, if these bank holidays were normally closed days, but if they got permission to open the shop, you had to pay time and a half and double time. When you make these days normal working days, no more overtime for the shop assistants who work for $250 a week. That little overtime used to do something for these people. The government is taking advantage of workers and hiding the tap. Making it look like this act has done nothing beneficial for shop assistants. The only thing it has done is to allow the owners of the businesses to save a little money because they don't have to pay overtime as they would have in the past.
The acting head of the Sanitation Service Authority says illegal dumping of waste is making the department's job even harder given the current challenges. Rosalind Knight was speaking with Barbados Today following a tour of Butts St. Thomas. She says the SSA is now operating with only 15 trucks and workers need the public's cooperation.
Even though we have an average, daily average of 15 trucks, we're still getting the job done. We're still managing to keep Barbados clean. But when we get all this additional illegal and indiscriminate dumping, it put more strain on our resources. In spite of all the challenges, I must tell you, the workers are doing an excellent job. They're doing a terrific job in spite of all the challenges. We're working together, we're having meetings, we have a good team spirit going, and we are getting the job done. They're doing an excellent job. I actually was it this morning? I said it to them yesterday and I said it to them this morning.
Police are asking for the public's assistance in locating 2 men who are wanted in connection with serious crimes. 21-year-old Jeevad Tevonne Griffith, also known as Run It of Harrison's Tenantry Road, Crab Hill, St. Lucie. He is 5 feet 8 inches tall, slim and dark. Griffith has several tattoos about the body, including one of 2 teardrops under his left eye. The other wanted man is Dwayne Omar Broomes, also known as Child, of Grape Hall, St. Lucie. He is 5 feet 8 inches tall, slim and dark. Both men are asked to present themselves to the police, accompanied by a lawyer of their choice. Police say they are considered to be armed and dangerous and should not be approached by the public. Prime Minister Frundle Stewart has welcomed the signing of the historic Paris Agreement on climate change. More than 195 countries agreed to the new accord following 2 weeks of negotiations at this year's climate change conference. A statement from Stewart, who is also CARICOM chairman, said countries in the region are already feeling the effects of climate change, and he pointed to recent disasters in St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dominica and the Bahamas, which he says demonstrated unusual weather patterns. Stewart says the task is now to ensure that the provisions of the agreement are implemented. He added that going forward, the international community must now retain the uplifting spirit of the Paris conference.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
It was days before Christmas. I had so much to do. Shopping, more shopping, and I was feeling blue. There's a mother, father, a wifey, and friend. Lots of things to buy, but there was no money to spend. I found the answer. The BT shopping spree. 15,000 in goodies. Free, free, free. It's easy to enter. Nothing hard to do. Follow my instructions and a winner can be you. Visit facebook.com/Barbados today. Do it quickly and fill out your form to enter this spree. Look, I'm shopping at the Cost-U-Less mega store. Come down, fill your trolleys with goodies and more. And like me, you too can say, ho, ho, ho.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
In news from the region, CARICOM today called on the World Trade Organization to deliver trade deals which will drive global economic growth. Jamaica's Foreign Affairs Minister A.J. Nicholson made the call on behalf of the regional grouping in his address to the plenary session of the 10th WTO Ministerial Conference in Kenya. He said the decision taken on financing for development, the 2030 Sustainable Development Agenda, and the new climate change agreement gave hope that the world can collectively find solutions to pressing global issues. Nicholson said CARICOM is hoping the conference will adopt decisions relating to proposals on special and differential treatment, including those related to small vulnerable economies. He also called for decisions on agriculture issues, fisheries subsidies, the work program on small economies, and special measures for the least developed countries. Internationally, thousands of protesters in South Africa marched across the country today to demand the removal of President Jacob Zuma. The protests were a reaction to the sacking of 2 finance ministers last week, raising questions over confidence in the economy. The demonstrations also came amid claims of widespread corruption, recent student protests, and a succession battle in the governing African National Congress. We get more in this report from the BBC.
Many of these songs you're hearing here are what they call struggle songs, songs of resistance against white minority rule that were used in the fight against apartheid. But when you speak to people here, they say they didn't fight that struggle in order to have a president who they believe puts his own interests ahead of the country.
I'm a South African through and through, first and foremost, and it is unconscionable to just sit back and just watch. I've got children, they're going to have children, and it begins right here. It must stop right here or else we are finished.
I feel very patriotic today. I feel like my voice is being heard. By me being here and not even saying anything, my presence is felt, my voice is felt. The government will know that there are people in the country, even if there's a small number of them. We are here and we are not part of what's happening in the country. We are quite displeased.
This is a national issue. In the past week, we've seen 3 finance ministers, what some people see as a huge gamble that President Jacob Zuma has taken with the country's economy. And many of these people feel enough is enough, that he's no longer putting the interests of the country first. Instead, he's protecting himself and a small clique of people within the party, and they want them all to go.
That's the news. There's more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Also tune in to Channel 101 on Flow TV or Mix 96.9 FM for more news. I am Maricla Williams. Good evening.